Hey folks, Quill18 here, and welcome to the PDXCon recap video. PDXCon is an event that happens yearly. That is where Paradox announces most of their new stuff for the upcoming year. Sometimes they do announce some stuff in between, you know, maybe at Gamescom or something like that, but a lot of it is at PDXCon, which used to be just sort of a press-only event, and then they would also have this like a fan gathering as a separate event some other time of the year, and then finally they realized, you know what, organizing big events is a lot of work, let's just merge the two together, and it's going to be better, and I agree. So for 3 years now we've had these merged PDXCons, which have been amazeballs. Really good stuff, because you know, for 2 days of it, it's open to the public, so it's just like hanging out with other people who really like the games, plus the developers tend to just be wandering on the floor. So there's been plenty of times where, you know, just got caught up in a big conversation some random place on the show floor, you know, with some fans of the games and some of the developers of the games all at the same time, which has been wonderful. If you've never gone to a PDXCon, really try to make a point of it if you can pull it off. It's really good. So there's 2 days of, or at least this past one was 2 days of public stuff on Saturday and Sunday, but there's also a press day. The Friday there's a private press day for the media, and the point of that is so that mostly for like the written press, you know, people who write for like the magazines, you know, the digital magazines at this point, so they can start writing their articles ahead of time. We don't get the cool announcements, right? The Saturday morning announcements, well, it's crazy. It was like an hour long, all this music and pomp and circumstance and people coming out in costumes and smoke machines and everything. On Friday we had like one guy, Jesse, I do love you though, you're awesome. One guy with like a sheet of paper just saying, all right, here's what's coming out. It's this, it's this, it's this, it's this. But then we do get to sit down and play some of the games and early access stuff that were not necessarily available on the show floor. Some things, some previews were available on the show floor. For example, when we get to Stellaris, you could play around with the Lithoid species pack, but I got to play with the Federation expansion on Friday, which you didn't get to do because it's not as complete. You know, it's further ahead or further away. But this has ruined me, by the way. Like I can't play Stellaris now because I need this to be in my life. More on that later on. Yeah, so the big announcement, of course, was Crusader Kings 3, and we are going to get to that in a scooch, but let's go and talk about the other announcements first. I do want a disclaimer. Paradox did fly me out to the event and put me up for the hotel, and I have done some sponsored work for Paradox, and I will be doing some sponsored work for Paradox, so standard disclaimers do apply. This video is not sponsored, however. Also, there's a possibility that I have some of the information wrong, and I might tell you lies throughout this video, so my apologies. Hopefully there'll be some clarifications in the comments if I get anything wrong. All right, let's talk about Surviving the Aftermath. So, Paradox had an idea to, after Surviving Mars, hey, let's make another game called Surviving Blank, and maybe there'll be more games in the future called Surviving Blank. It's a whole sort of vibe. The Surviving Mars and Surviving the Aftermath have very little in common, other than they are, I guess you could say, base building, survival-y kind of games, and that is about the overlap. Although there's some user element cues or user interface cues that I kind of wish these were clickable, but they're not. But like the top bar over here, that looks kind of like the top bar in Surviving Mars. But really, other than that, there's not a whole heckin' lot in common, other than, yeah, base building survival game where things can go horribly and epically wrong, which is great. This one here is after the aftermath, like the world has ended. How did it end? Yes, it ended in all the ways that it could possibly end. Climate change? Yes. Meteor storm? Yes. Nuclear war? Yes. Basically all the things that could go wrong did go wrong. In terms of vibe, yeah, you'll feel a little bit of Surviving Mars in here. You'll also get a RimWorld vibe, a Banished vibe, a Frostpunk vibe, some Fallout vibes, sort of a collection of a bunch of these kind of at the same time, which I think are all pretty good things. Now, it is currently available in early access. You can get it on the Epic Games Store or on the Xbox. When it does get released, which is going to be next year, it will be available on other platforms like Steam and whatnot. So do be prepared. If you pick it up today, it is early build. It's a year away, basically, from being completed. So you have to be prepared for a game that is not quite finished. It might be a little bit low on content right now, that sort of thing. And I apologize for this top bar here. It's just the website that I'm using for the press releases that's got this top bar, which looks a little bit stupid, but you know, what can you do, right? So they are planning to do like big monthly updates. The first one is going to be a colony update, which is going to be a pretty significant boost to how you do manage your colony itself, and the second one is going to be the world map update. So the Frostpunky kind of vibe that you might get is the fact that in addition to the colony situation, you know, like a Banished or like a Tropico, there's also an overworld map like you see in Frostpunk, or like a little RimWorld, I suppose. And I think that's going to add a lot of the depth and interestingness and variation to the gameplay, because you're not just focused on the colony all the time. You have to sort of switch it up and play in these two different modes at the same time, and they boost each other. So you have these special survivors that are going to be wandering around the world collecting resources and then bringing them back to your base camp over here. So I do have a video of this on my channel already, if you're curious what this looks like, and there will be some more content for this as we go forward, specifically planned probably around the big updates, because it'll be curious to see the changes that happen there. I don't currently have a Let's Play, just a video or two as a Let's Try, and I'm very much looking forward to more content being added in here. What's next? Age of Wonders Planetfall. The Revelations expansion has been announced. Launches November 19th, which is about 20 days away as I am recording this. Very excited for this. One of the things I've always said, strategy games have to be treated like living documents or living games. You know, you can't just release them and then leave for like 3 years and then come out with strategy game 2 and then leave for 3 years and come out with strategy game 3. I want these things to be constantly loved and developed. You know, with patches, and then that gets supported by expansions, and that's what's going on here. And Age of Wonders have done that before. They've had some great content for like Age of Wonders 3 and things like that, which I like. I want that, because strategy games, they tend to get like busted up when they get released, because people figure out good strategies, so you got to mix it up, and then they figure out the new things, so you got to mix it up some more. So very keen on that. One of the big things that gets added over here in Revelations is a new secret tech. So if you haven't played Age of Wonders Planetfall, when you start the game, you pick your faction. Your faction is your race plus a secret tech. And it's the combination of the two that really defines who you're going to be. So at release, I believe there were 6 races and 6 secret techs, which is 36 combinations. Math is hard, but I think that's about right. And that's really what it feels like, 36 sort of different combinations. So now there's a new secret tech, which is going to be usable by all the races. So now we're at 42 combinations? Math is hard, yo. But this new tech, got to play with this a little bit. Very cool, the Inheritor technology. So your units have the ability to like drain essences of enemies and accumulate these essence charges, and then depending on what unit you have, they can burn off those essence charges in a number of ways, to maybe do damage or do support things, to debuff, to buff, to do all kinds of things like that. I think really adds a big extra layer of strategy to the tactical combat, which was really appealing. The other big thing going on, and one of the things I've always loved about the Age of Wonders series, or even if we go back to the like Master of Magic or anything like that, is the overworld exploration aspect of the game is always fun. You know, popping open tombs and having to do fights with random monsters over there to level up your dudes and things like that. It's not just about fighting the other players. There's a lot of overworld stuff to do. So we're gonna get more of that now, because we've got these anomalous site mechanics. So these are sites which are not just like, you know, you go on the map, you do a fight, you get a thing. Here, it's a little bit more like the Stellaris archaeology features, where it's going to be a multiple turn thing where you get dialogue, you get these events, you get multiple choices to pick from, and you've got to go through a whole series of steps. Some of those steps may lead to combat, some may not, some may lead to easier or harder combat, and finally, at the end, you will usually have multiple choices of different rewards. Some of these anomaly sites might turn into features on the map, others might give you a new hero unit, different things, which is really cool. I think that really adds a lot to one of the strongest aspects of the game already, which is the overworld exploration thing. We get campaign missions, we get scenarios, we get a new NPC faction. So this is going to be a pretty beefy expansion. And I've been looking forward to playing another round of Age of Wonders Planetfall, so likely that will come up over here. And yeah, free content as well. So again, adopting that kind of model of let's continuously patch and develop the game and support that with some expansions, which I think is a really strong way to go. So I did get to fiddle with this. The new units look super badass. This is not, I don't think, it's the greatest screenshot to highlight, but in like one of the scenarios, it's a little small to see here, and I can't click to embiggen this, unfortunately, which they should really do on this website. But this guy over here, huge and so very scary. So very cool. All right, that's Planetfall. Battletech Heavy Metal. I've always been a fan of Battletech. I played tabletop Battletech 25 plus years ago. Listen, I'm old here. Yeah, actually, it was probably something like 28 years ago that I got introduced to tabletop Battletech. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. Anyway, Battletech. Oh yeah, and I had the Mech Warrior RPG system too. That was really cool. Battletech, the computer game, I've really loved. I got like 600 hours or something into it. Still really eager to keep playing it. And really looking forward to this expansion over here. The Heavy Metal expansion looks phenomenal. The first two expansions, Flashpoints, the Flashpoint system was cool. And then the Urban Warfare, it's like, oh, new Urban Warfare maps and new mechs and things like that. That's cool. I think Heavy Metal is gonna trump the others in terms of content. It's certainly, like, since they announced it and we got to see it, it was a hands-off demo of the gameplay. I think it's gonna be fantastic. So we got a bunch of new mechs coming out with this expansion. Where does it say over here? 1 original, 7 classic battle mechs. So one of the things, this is not going to make any sense, but there's, to a lot of people, with the battle mech universe, there's these mechs called the Unseen, because there was a long time ago, like literally, like in the 80s, I guess, I think, some like copyright troll issues with some other company that said, oh, these mechs here are too similar to these things from this one anime and blah, blah, blah. And basically, yeah. So 35-year legacy. So some of these mechs have been basically locked in legislation, no, legal, whatever. They're courtroom bullshit for forever. But that's been resolved. So they're back, baby. So 7 classic mechs that haven't been seen in forever because of this stupid legal hell are back, and they're also throwing in an original mech that they're inventing over here. And one of the great things about this is, yeah, each one of these mechs comes with unique equipment that reflect the flavor and lore of the original board game. Because one of the things in the tabletop game is each one of the mechs were like had a bunch of lore and description about them. They were all supposed to be like, oh, they're specifically really good at this one thing. And sometimes it was reflected in their equipment, and sometimes it wasn't. You know, you were just told, oh, this mech was really good at, I don't know, it had a really good targeting system for long-range combat. And I mean, so they just put some large lasers on it, and that's it. But now they've got these unique components in actually the mechs over here. So literally, the rifleman, let's say, has an actual component on it which does make it more accurate at long range. And different mechs have these unique components that you can't remove and put on something else. It just belongs to this chassis, which means the chassis becomes that much more important and interesting. And hopefully we'll see more of that. If you did do some of the modding before, some of the rogue techs and whatnot will have already made use of this a little bit, but now that it's in the base game, then it's going to be even better and open up more options for modding and things, and I don't know, just be excellent. New weapon systems are coming. We're seeing the coil system, which looks really cool, and the mech mortar. Oh yeah, one of these mechs over here that is being released has like giant mortar like artillery weapons, AoE, which is kind of badass. A Flashpoint mini campaign is kind of interesting. So if you're playing in the career mode, there's going to be a specific sort of flashpoint that acts as kind of a campaign within your open-ended career mode, right? As opposed to the story mode, the campaign mode. The career mode is sort of just a sandbox kind of scenario, but there's going to have this mini campaign built in there, which is going to be really, really awesome. And I don't know, it just looks amazing. It is also, it doesn't say it in this email here, which is interesting, because this is going to be paired with a free patch for Battletech, and this free patch is going to be a big honking deal because, one, it's going to add a couple more mechs in there as well. So there's these 8 new mechs as part of the expansion, but there's also going to be 2 new mechs as part of the free patch, and I believe there are 2 more of the Unseen, some very popular ones. In addition to that, modding support is now officially coming to Battletech. The reason Battletech didn't ship with official modding support, I mean, yeah, it's extra development work and things like that, but I think, you know, I suspect with the nature of the game of Battletech, I think they would have wanted modding from the start, but I think it was all these legal wrangling issues because they couldn't officially support the idea of mods that could add these unseen mechs back into the game. I mean, people were doing it anyway, but yeah, they couldn't do the official modding support, but now it's gonna be there officially into the game. Apparently apparently they've already been working behind the scene with some of the biggest modding crews to help them get kickstarted on the product here. Very excited. November 21st. I've got so much time into Battletech, both vanilla and with the mods. I'm just really pumped about this. If you haven't played this yet, you should. This game comes on sale fairly frequently. It's not like the most expensive game just as a base price either, and then it comes on sale at 50% off and things like that pretty often. It actually was just 66% off as well, so keep an eye out for that, because you can't go wrong with this game. Stellaris! Okay, so yeah, I have been ruined, because while on the public show floor for all the attendees, you guys could play with the Lithoids species pack, I actually got to play with the Federation's expansion. I mean, it's still very early in development, but I got to fiddle with this a little bit. And now I'm ruined because I can't play Stellaris without the Federation expansion because it's really looking really good. So yeah, 2 new expansions coming out. Lithoids, which I think is out now. Yeah, it will launch October 24th. So as I'm making this video, Lithoids is out. It's a species pack. Now, unlike the previous species pack, the Plantoids, Lithoids is not just some visual aspects, right? It's not just like, you know, a race with some new arts and things like that. It has some gameplay changes as well. Lithoids are rock people. They don't eat food, they eat minerals, which is pretty significant. Plus, they've got some extra traits when you're making your race creation that are unique to the Lithoids. And when not the expansion all the way, when the expansion drops, when the free patch drops and adds the origin system into the game, the Lithoids have some particularly interesting, unique origins as well. So yeah, this is the Lithoids is playable now, and it looks really good. So Federations is the big deal here. Federations has 2 massive changes. Origins, is that part of the expansion or the patch? I felt like this was going to be part of the free patch, but I might be wrong. See, I may have just told you a lie. I'm not sure. But this aspect is cool. Okay, let's talk about this. Expanded Federations. So Federations is when you team up with other empires in space, and that is being absolutely massively expanded over here. So there's going to be different types of federations, so Tragalides, Martial Alliance, Hegemonies, for example. In addition to that, you can level up your federation based on a variety of things. So this is giving you the sort of cohesion feature. You can level up your federation, which will give it more and more and more features. Really cool. Really going to give a bonus to the diplomatic game. In addition to that, possibly even more significantly, is the galactic community. So there is now going to be a big galactic community, a galactic senate, a galactic council that is going to be present in the game, which can vote for various resolutions. Now, the galactic community is going to have a few different steps, because originally I think there's just a loose community, and then it sort of does build into like electing an actual council, you know, sort of a UN kind of thing going on. And yeah, you can vote on certain resolutions. For example, you could decide to globally ban slavery. And then anyone who doesn't choose to change their policy, right? You're not forced to do it, in a sense, right? If the whole galaxy bans slavery, you can still have slavery in your empire, but everyone else is going to hate you. Well, everyone else who's not also a slaver is going to hate you. So diplomatically, there's going to be a lot of things. So you might want to make sure you have a lot of diplomatic push, so that you can make sure to keep things that you want in power, and so on and so forth. This looks really good. Really good. I'm really eager to play sort of maybe just a tall non-expansionist empire, but that could potentially be really strong in the galactic sense. Origins. Okay, let's talk about this, because this I'm really excited for. So already when you set up your race in Stellaris, there are certain things that you could pick as part of either your species pick or your government pick, which really belonged in Origins. For example, life-seeded, right? The idea that you start off on a Gaian homeworld, but your people can only live on Gaian worlds and nothing else. That's being moved to an origin. Each species is going to be able to pick one. And some of these are crazy sauce. For example, one of the origins is your planet is doomed. You have, I think it's like 64 years or something like that before your planet, I don't know, explodes or gets swallowed up by a sun or whatever it is. So you have to GTFO in that time. I think your planet starts off really strong and really rich, but it's going to be destroyed. So you have to go and move your species off your homeworld as quickly as you can. There's one where you start as a vassal of a fallen empire. Like, what the hell? That's amazing. The cool thing about this as well is it decouples some of these origins from government picks. So for example, you couldn't be a life-seeded merchant republic, but but now, or corporation, I should say, but now you can, because they're not the same category of stuff, so you get to like split things up. Anyway, really cool. New constructions, big giant juggernaut, mobile starbase, so it's a giant ship that moves around that also lets you build ships as you go, which is really neat. And yeah, the rock-based species, so lots of things coming on here. New portraits, unique mechanics for lithoids, which is also going to tie into the Origins when that does come out. I'm really pumped. I love Stellaris so much. Prison Architect. So a while ago, Paradox actually bought Prison Architect. They don't just publish the game for the developer, they purchased the entire brand because they want to do some other architect-y things with it. Well, now Psych Ward Warden's Edition is coming out for PC. I believe Psych Ward did originally come out for the console version of Prison Architect some while ago, but Warden's Edition's got a bunch more stuff. But yeah, you can now house criminally insane people into your prison. One of the things too is they've continued to develop Prison Architect. They've imported or improved a lot of the user interface stuff, taken a lot of feedback from the community. I think they've been doing a wonderful job with it, which is really cool. But yeah, plead insanity. You can have shrinks and things. Excessive suppression or punishment cause them to turn criminally insane. Padded cells, lots and lots and lots of different furniture. I was playing with this at PDXCon and it's a lot of fun. All right, let's talk about the big one. Crusader Kings 3. It got announced, it's coming, and holy crap, does it look cool. One of the things I remember before PDXCon, people were talking about, and like, what would you really do? Like, what would a Crusader Kings 3 be? Well, I guess we'd tweak this or this and this. And the thing, people were thinking too small. If you're gonna go and do a Crusader Kings 3 as opposed to a Crusader Kings 2.5 or something like that, is you're really you gotta rewrite things. You gotta rip things out and come up with a new approach. Like, we're not just talking about an expansion. We're talking about completely transforming the game to make it worthwhile, going from a 2 to a 3. Now, I did go ahead and pre-load these screenshots over here, so they're going to be a little bit bigger. Hold on, I need to click on the right thing. Windows photo viewer. There you go. All right, and then if I F11 there. Excellent. All right. Hopefully it's still recording. It just covered up my OBS, so I can no longer tell if that's going on. Oh, are you auto-advancing as well? You're in some sort of screenshot mode? That's pretty stupid. All right, you know what? Cancel full screen mode. We're just going to go with that. Sorry, guys, because things were being kind of derptastic. All right, so let's talk about the map first going on. So pretty significant changes to the map in that, unless I have it wrong, baronies are now represented on the map. So it used to be counties were the smallest level that you would see on the map. You could click on a county, and then you could see baronies sorting your pop-up. Now they are physically represented on the map. As far as I understand, I think your character is still going to be count level or higher, but there are massive implications to the map changes. Now, I don't know if the stats are in the press release. If we come back over here... No, it's not in there, but they gave us a count of like the map division, the provinces or the baronies here. This is going to be like, I don't remember. It's like so many more provinces. Like, I want to say like 4 or 5 times more provinces or something like that. I might be wrong. I might be lying. So don't quote that aspect of it. I'm sure there's going to be an article written that's already been written by someone way more competent than me that's got some of the specificals over there. But there's going to be a lot of stuff on the map. I mean, look, I mean, England, again, here, right? The pits we're looking at, the subdivisions are so much smaller. There's going to be a lot more going on, but it doesn't mean you have to micromanage more because, I don't think you directly control the baronies. So it is going to be pretty different. Obviously, the UI has gotten a pretty significant change, but that's not really the important part. And this, we're far enough from release. Who knows what the UI is going to look like at release. But we do have full 3D characters now. And one of the cool things about that, your genetics system is going to factor in your... it's going to have your look. So, like, you might have distinctive noses that pass down the lines of inheritance, which I think are quite cool. They have little animations. The traits, I mean, we still have the basic stats of things over here. There's also going to be other traits that your character can collect. There's going to be a redo of how the titles come up as well, because you can, like, find out more of, like, your titles and your traits and things. There's more, I think there's going to be more combination of traits that give you cool, like, little nicknames, which I think is awesome. Still going to get events, sure. Let's talk about this. This is a big freaking honking change. Your characters will have these sort of kind of talent trees going on with them that really let you customize your character in a very significant way as you go. Basically, so So one of the things to keep in mind, people have been worried, like, oh, going from CK2 to CK3, oh, what are we going to lose? And it's just an excuse to resell some DLC. Well, we are going to lose some things, because things are a gargantuan change. But like, there was a whole DLC expansion for CK2 that added lifestyle choices. That's going to be baked into the base game now, but is going to be pretty significantly different. So you are going to choose from, so there's a lifestyle sort of category associated with all the stats. So there's the martial lifestyle. Then within that, you're going to choose a focus, strategy, authority, and chivalry. And choosing that right away will give you some sort of bonus. So like if you choose, you know, martial lifestyle with the strategy focus, right away, you're going to get +3 to your martial. You know, or if you went to authority, you'd get less martial, but you'd get control growth. What the hell is control? I don't know. We'll find out when we play the game, I guess. But in addition to that, you will start to accrue experience in this category, and it's that experience that allows you to unlock these extra sort of bonuses. So you get this part right away, and then over time, you will develop some of these other things. Now, you can switch from lifestyle to lifestyle whenever you want. If you switch, you do get to retain any of these talents you've unlocked. So whatever living off the land over here is, which I assume, let's assume less supply or less attrition or something like that, right? Let's assume it's something like that. Who knows? If you then switch over to, say, the espionage list of things, right? The subtlety over here, the intrigue, that's it. Word is intrigue. If you switch over to intrigue, you're still going to get to keep this bonus. And then you'll start to accrue intrigue experience, which you'll get to unlock some things over there. So depending on what you're trying to do, you might bop around between a lot of these things. You might focus in one until you finish, you know, because presumably some of these capstone ones are probably really strong. I assume, I don't know, still very much in development. I did get a peek at some aspects of this, but not all the aspects in the game. Okay, so that's it for our screenshots over here. Now, there's lots of news that's still going to be coming out. They got dev diaries, they got this, they got this. There are two other big major things. The religion system. Holy Fury, the final expansion for Crusader Kings 2, introduced like this like customizable religion system. It's like everyone considers Holy Fury the best expansion for CK2. Well, it looks like what Holy Fury was sort of almost a test run or backporting of some of the features that are going to be a major part of CK3. The religion system and the heresies for religions is going to be massive. It is going to be hugely varied. You're going to see a lot more depth and variation in religion and what people individually follow, and your ability to customize that is going to be crazy pants. Crazy pants. It's going to make Holy Fury look like a joke, based on what I saw. I mean, who knows what it'll look like at release, but holy man. In addition to that, your Dynasty is getting a whole other source of gameplay mechanics. And this, to me, feels like... Which one? Is it Holy Fury that added the Bloodlines thing as well? I don't remember. But your Dynasty is going to also have the ability to kind of level up. One of the things they talked about is... you know, you spent a lot of time in CK2 developing your character. And then when your character died, you mostly sort of felt like you were starting over. Yeah, you know, you'd accumulated some land. And yeah, technically some of the prestige and piety and whatever could carry over, and you could have a dynasty score and something like that. But really, with each character, you're sort of starting over. How do we make the dynasty, the bloodline, feel more epic? Well, they have now a way for you to actually develop your dynasty over time. You can get that Habsburgy vibe of like, our dynasty is all about, you know, marriages and diplomacy and things like that. Or you might get a different dynasty vibe of our dynasty is, you know, full of military like geniuses who are always good at doing, you know, military, because we just have that tradition in our family. There's also going to be a division of Dynasty versus House. There's going to be cadet branches. There's going to be so many things that we've wanted in CK2 forever, but we're kind of going to be difficult, I guess, to jam that into the game without just rewriting massive parts of it, and that's what we're going to get to see in CK3 here. I saw more of this than you guys have, and there's some stuff that will be shown going forward. I am legit super excited for CK3. I'm not at all worried about at release CK3 won't be as good as CK2 because it might not have like all the content. Like I don't know if like Merchant Republics, I don't know if are going to be playable out of the box. And honestly, it's the sort of thing, merchant republics have to be dramatically unique compared to feudal monarchies. So they sort of do need their own complete redo. And that maybe not be available at vanilla. So I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see if obviously at release what's in here, but I'm pretty goddamn hyped. Pretty goddamn hyped for CK3. So that's the recap of what we saw at PDXCon. And oops, wrong button over here. So that is playable now. That will be on the 19th, and I dabbled with it, and it looks cool. This is going to be released on the 21st of November. I did not get to play this, but I did get to see the devs give a presentation for this and play through a mission and show off the new mechs and new mechanics, and it's freaking sweet. And I'm also super excited for the fact that modding is going to be officially supported now. Federation's expansion, being able to dabble with this on the press day has ruined Stellaris for me. I don't know if I can play it until this has come out because it's so freaking good. Oh my god. Like, I always say this with a lot of the Paradox games, like, the vanilla games are still very playable. The problem is, once you've played with one of the expansions, you can never go back. Never go back. The Warden's Edition, the Psych Ward stuff, it is rough. It is intense. You need, daily therapy sessions for your prisoners. Oh man, and obviously CK2 we're really pumped at. The release date, they don't have a release date, arriving in 2020. We've got no specificals on that. I will also try in the description box down below to link to some other cool write-ups that people have done, people who are more competent at, sort of creative thinking or critical thinking, and reviewing and stuff like that. I will try to link to some of their articles for some of these various games. I know they sat down and got some interviews with the developers as well, and have some extra information. There's plenty of stuff that I know and then I've forgotten over here and trying to do this quick little thing. So do check that. But yeah, next year you should go to PDXCon. See you there, bud. Bye bye.